Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Chargeback Forward. My name's Terrence, and this week we're going to talk about this guy, Master Higgins. That's right, the game I'm going to be talking about is Super Adventure Island on the Super Nintendo. Now this game was released in 1992, which was a bit of a shock for me when I looked it up because I played it last week on vacation. I played it back around the time that it originally came out, and it was surprising that it was 1992. Visually, the game felt like it was closer to a launch title, but what can you do? Anyways, Super Adventure Island was the first Adventure Island game on the Super Nintendo, and it followed the formula set in the original Adventure Island very closely. And as some of you may or may not know, Adventure Island is actually a sanctioned clone of Wonder Boy. So first thing I want to talk about, guys, is the music. It seems that the first games that I've been talking about in the new Chargeback Forward have featured really strong soundtracks. Super Adventure Island, for the most part, is no exception. There's some weaker tracks, but the majority tracks are amazing. The music in this game was composed by Yuzo Koshiro. And it's funny because when I did the ActRaiser review, it didn't even occur to me that he wrote the music, but he did. So it seems that all the classic 16-bit games, and especially the earlier ones, have his handprints all over the music. So that's the reason why I remembered the game, and I decided to go have a look again and then share my thoughts with you. So Super Adventure Island is a pretty straightforward 2D side-scrolling game. It's a little on the difficult side. You can trip on rocks, but any contact with any enemy and you're pretty much dead. I kind of enjoy that kind of one-hit kill challenge, but at times, and especially later on, it became a bit annoying, and it was a bit challenging to finish the game. But, you know, I persevered, I got through it. The boss fights are actually probably my favorite part of the entire game. Big sprites, big, huge bosses, and again, because of the one-hit kill thing, they are challenging, but pretty much that is the only reason why they're challenging. So the premise of the story is pretty simple. In this game, Master Higgins, who's based off of Takahashi Meijin, and that's literally means Master Takahashi. The guy's real name, Toshiyuki Takahashi, was a former executive for Hudson Soft, and you know, it seems to be a very Japanese thing they do. They'll throw someone from their company into the game and you get to look at his smug fuck face as opposed to Wonder Boy's face. That's how that all got down. So this dude was initially famous for hitting the button 16 times in 1 second, and he kind of muscled his way into Hudson Soft at that point or before, and it doesn't really matter. But look at this guy. What's wrong with your face, you bald fuck? So again, the premise of the story is pretty simple. Master Higgins, as he's known in this version, is chilling out with his girlfriend, and check out this name. Her name in canon is Tina, but in the literature for this game, she's Genie Jungle. Genie Jungle or Miss Jungle, ridiculous. So they're sitting on top of a perch, they're chilling out, she's all into him, he's all a smug fuck. And then Darkcloak descends, turns her to stone, and the adventure begins because Master Higgins wants to save the girl. Wow, we haven't seen that before, but it's back in the early 90s, well in the acceptable range of that trope. Now, I think there's a bonus stage in every level, but it's kind of funny that I didn't actually find a bonus stage until 5-3. That's funny because that's the last level before the final boss fight. So I was happy that I got to experience that, and I had a little chuckle when I found a Milk of Magnesia bottle as the last item to get. One of the cool things I want to talk about in the music, like there's some really good like beats, there's some like reggae beats and kind of like hip-hop-ish beats, whatever. But I loved how the levels ended, where you had like a little bit of like a drum thing happening when a normal level ended, but when you beat the boss, you got a little bit more of that with some record scratching. So really cool, and I guess because it was early on the Super Nintendo hardware, it was also cool to hear those things, as you didn't really hear that on their 8-bit counterparts. There was some use of early Mode 7 graphics that I really appreciated. You have Master Higgins falling from the sky and he's essentially falling towards you in the screen. That was pretty cool. You know, overall the game looked pretty good. The sound effects were pretty annoying. It is fun to play. Don't play it for the story though. I mean, when I cleared the game and the first credit that came up was the story credit, I actually laughed. Like, I laughed out loud. And it's kind of weird when you do that, when you got your headphones on and you're in a public place and you're watching or playing something and people look at you like a weirdo, but that's kind of what that was about. Because someone actually like put their name as a story by this person. Now I know there's more story fleshed out in the instruction book, but in terms of the actual game, girl gets turned to stone. Main character has to beat boss to get girl unturned from stone. The ends. Right? Alright guys, that's enough of my blabbing on about Super Adventure Island. It is a pretty cool game. I would recommend it if you want like a simpler 2D side-scrolling game that's a little unforgiving but has some cool beats to accompany you along that journey. I'd check it out. Quite frankly, I like the original Wonder Boy better, but when it comes to music, this version is the tops. Guys, sound off in the comments below. Have you played this game? Do you want to play this game? And what games do you want to see me review in future episodes of Chargeback 4? Until then, guys.